The Indie Writers Club podcast is sponsored by Pro Writing Aid. Pro Writing Aid has been my go-to tool for revising and refining my writing since my first book. Built by writers for writers, it's more than just a grammar and spell checker. Pro Writing Aid helps you enhance your story's pacing, plot, characters, settings, and more. It can even provide on-demand developmental feedback on your entire manuscript with its new manuscript analysis and virtual beta reader tools. Get ahead of the competition by heading to prowritingaid.com, sign up for free or use the code IWC15 for a 15% discount off annual subscriptions.
It's the Indie Writers Club with Cara Clare and James Blatch. A place to relax, chat, learn and vent about life as an independent author. Get episode alerts and links at indiewritersclub.com. Now, here's Cara and James.
Hello, welcome to the Indie Writers Club. I am Cara Clare.
And I'm James Blatch.
And James Blatch is broadcasting from which exotic location this week?
I'm just outside Neasden in North London.
That's a lie, everyone. That's an absolute lie.
It's a lie. Actually, I can't really show you because I don't think the light's adjusting, but I am in tropical...
No, we can see that there's like some very non-British trees in the background there somewhere.
Yeah, I'm in Florida. It's actually not in the tropics, technically, but it feels like it is. It's a very tropical climate here. You get this... I want to use American F because that's what they say everywhere here, so I can't convert it, but it's basically 90 during the day and quite humid, so it's pretty oppressively warm. But nice, it's not unmanageable, but you get this torrential rain. I mean, the first night I was here, I was in a bar eating, and it was apocalyptic rain outside. But I could eat casually knowing, with no coat, I was just in shorts and t-shirt, of course, in 10 minutes' time, I can walk home. Because it'll be over and it'll be like it never happened. I quite like it's quite exciting, that sort of climate. Yes, I'm in Florida. I'm on the Gulf Coast, the Gulf of America coast, if you like. People walking around with t-shirts saying Gulf of America or Gulf of Mexico if you're a traditionalist. In a place about midway, sort of due west of Orlando, if you know the peninsula of Florida, in a place called St. Pete Beach, which is adjacent to St. Petersburg, not the original one, the other one.
I was going to say, hang on, my geography's gone very wrong here.
Yeah, different. And it's the annual Nink conference, and it's unusual. Well, not unusual, I suppose, because we've done the same until next year with our venues, but it's in the same venue every year. Actually, no, I'm thinking about it, most of them in the same venue, aren't you? There's a few conferences that move about, but Nink has been here for years. I first came, I think, in 2017, 16 or 17, so I've been coming for quite a few years. I missed last year and really missed it. And I think it's a conference that you have to qualify to come here. I came as an industry guest up until this year. An industry guest, obviously, we pay to be here. We're one of the vendors. We get to chat to authors. It's not quite as formally structured as most conferences. It's by the beach and it's relaxed. It's jeans and t-shirt, shorts and t-shirt. And the conversations you have with vendors are walking around chatting or in the bar afterwards. So there's a little bit of a formality of having a stall, but it's very much, this is a place where you will find fellow authors to be friends with. And most of the value is in the conversations. I mean, that's the case with lots of conferences, but it feels like this one's set up for that, sort of structurally set up for that.
You're right in thinking that this is not specifically indie and that trad authors can go as well?
So when I first it was mainly trad, and there was a growing sort of number of indies. And I think because of the nature of the conference and the enjoyable nature of being here, it quickly became a favourite of quite a lot of us indies. So we grew as a group. And then what's happened, really interesting, since I started coming in 2017, is that indie group has grown and grown to be a bigger part of it. Now, partly that's more indies coming here, but partly it's trad authors who've had enough conversations to realise that there's another side of doing this, of the publishing coin. And there's also been an overlap into the organisation of the conference, the organisational people in the conference now. And Wayne Stinnett was president a couple of years ago. Dave Behrens, so you may not know these names, but Dave Behrens is a sort of tropical thriller writer. I've known Dave for years, early SPF days. So it's kind of indie dominated now, but there's still trad authors come here, absolutely, who, for whatever reason, and it's the right thing for them, just want to be trad authors. And some of them are quite big, being paid big advances, so that's why they're doing that. a lot of the conference is on craft and some of the stuff that's universal, but quite a lot of it is on marketing and ads now. So I would say it feels like a 66% indie conference now.
And I think the fact that it's you have to qualify, so it's not prohibitive. It's not a huge amount, is it? But you do have to have made. I think it was about $5,000, wasn't it?
I think it's $5,000, 2 books or more, something like that, over a year, and you've got to show some evidence that that's happened.
Yeah.
So actually,
and I feel like
enough,
that just kind of makes it so that people who are serious about it are going, but you don't have to be making mega bucks.
No, that's right. It is because of the qualification. You haven't got absolute beginners here. You've got people who are already making some money. So yes, I'm quite pleased with myself that I qualified this year because of my sales, mainly my Germany
qualified
sales.
2 years ago and I still haven't been.
Well, this is definitely something you said you're going to manifest. I mean, I would manifest coming to Nink because it's
just been a timing thing for me because it's always so close to the start of school. It always just feels like a total non-starter for me to think about it, but I need to just get my head around it for next year because it sounds like a really, really good one. I haven't ever spoken to anyone who says that they haven't enjoyed it.
No, I really enjoy it. And it almost feels like home from home here because I know all the local places. We've become here enough. We've done all the local places. We know them well, and it's slipping back into it when you come here. And I think also you have to think about your mental health and your energy levels. And this is perfect timing because England tends to go into, well, certainly Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales as well, tends to go into kind of a grey clag this time of year as summer kind of ends. And you've got this in your mind. You're coming out to blue skies and 90-degree heat. And there's a lot of science that says that looking at those blue skies is very helpful for your mood and your chemical levels and stuff in your brain. And so it's, I come out a couple of days early and leave a couple of days late. We don't have children getting up for school or anything at home anymore. So there's no particular need for me to be at home pulling my weight. We've got the dogs to walk, but my wife is very amenable to me spending a bit more time. So I come out a day or two early and leave a day or two late. So I have a proper time here. And honestly, I craved it this year, really craved it. It's absolutely doing the job of re-energizing me. I'm working here. I know I get up because the jet lag's quite useful. You get up at sort of 6 o'clock in the morning and you can work and you can do a lot of work and it's like 10 and 10 or 11 and you can go out and start having breakfast and go on. Yesterday we went to the beach and had a little floaty thing out in the sea, which is fun. So and I think that I didn't come last year and really missed it. So there's lots of reasons why this is a very enjoyable conference, but I would also say that it is one you can Author Nation will also do this job, but you've got to work hard at making sure you're in the right sessions at Author Nation. Was here most of the sessions, smaller venues, only a couple of parallel tracks. Most of the sessions are going to suit probably where you are with your writing. But so I'm a big fan of Nink and it's a well-run conference and and I've got friends who I made here that will be friends for life. So.
But if I come next year though, will you be my friend or are you going to be like, that's the new girl, we don't talk to her?
You can book in. I've got an app where you can book in to see me. Of course you will be. So I went to an author party last night, which is an author who lives in I won't say who it is, but they live in a spectacular house nearby. About a 20-minute drive north with a backing onto the sea. And it's a beautiful, beautiful house. We had really nice dinner there last night. If I had ribs, we don't really have ribs in the UK, do we? But I know it's a big thing. It's a big thing in America. You hear it mentioned in popular culture. And the husband had been cooking the ribs for 7 hours and there were various different seasonings on them and they were unbelievably good. And the meat's sort of falling off the bone. And so I had a proper taste of Americana yesterday.
We're a bit funny about that, aren't we, Brits? We're a bit funny about like food that we have to eat with our fingers and getting messy. I feel like we're not very good at that as a culture. We're very like, oh God, no, I can't.
Well, I wasn't sure whether to eat it with my fingers, and I think other people weren't because there were knives and forks, and a lot of people were eating it with knives and forks because the meat was falling off the bone, and we were sitting around a dinner table inside a very smart house. I did pick it up.
I can't come. I don't know the rules. Clearly, I'd have embarrassed myself.
I was anxious. I picked them up, then I put it back down, and then the person who was on my left. Can I say who was on my left? I'm trying to think who was who was there. But anyway, they picked them up and then they put them down. I don't know, there's a bit of confusion. There was confusion about how to eat the ribs, but they were delicious. But yes, so I was going to talk a little bit on the call today about what people are talking about at the moment, because it's always like the first few conversations you have are usually universal. Everyone's struggling with the same things or doing the same sort of things.
Yeah.
And I'd say the two areas I've had conversations with about the most, and I'll go through the agenda in a minute, see if there's anything else that's leaping out, is AI, of course, and Facebook ads.
Yeah. Okay.
AI, hopefully, certainly, I mean, the official conference doesn't start until later today, but there's a lot of authors here, and I've been out and about and had quite a few conversations. And so far, AI, there's been absolutely zero nonsense from anybody about, I don't use AI. The professional authors who are here, the professional authors here are making money are not taking part in that movement. That's a ridiculous movement. I've called that out before, and I will continue to call it out, particularly the unfairness. Anybody, I'll say this one more time, I'm not going to rant, but anybody who's seeking out an author to try and shame them publicly because they've used AI in an image or their marketing, just have a word with yourself, because that is not good behavior. You are a bad actor in our community, not the other way around.
Yep. So
the talk about AI is exactly how we're using it, how it's being implemented, and various different aspects of that. And Facebook ads is just because, some big authors here, I won't name anybody in the way I'm going to talk about it here, but there's some big authors, people you'd heard of, and they've all had the same experience, really. She was a year and a half ago or so. Facebook ads just sort of fell off the face of the earth and just stopped working. And if you had, an organization turning over $1 million from mainly driven by Facebook ads, hundreds of thousands of dollars of profit just sort of disappeared for the bulk of last year. But there's talk now that there's been yet another sort of change to the platform. It's really hard to know what's happening under the bonnet with it, but it feels different. The cost per clicks are coming down. There's a bit of debate about how conversions are lagging behind at the moment, but I think they are working, and it feels like whatever Facebook did, whatever transition it made a year or so ago, it's done some rolling back from. That's sort of my impression, or it's developed it a bit further, so it's working a bit better.
Yeah, it's definitely my translations ads are still working well. I think they've obviously burned through like the best audience, if you know what I mean, because we're September now, so probably we're coming into the third month of them been running. And for the first 6 to 8 weeks, I was getting 3 or 4 times my ad spend returned. Now it's kind of settled at double the ad spend, which is better than I was getting on my UK ads and my US ads. But obviously it's not that huge, oh my God, this is awesome, we're back to the original days of of Facebook ads kind of thing. So it's definitely still not where it was, but it's from my point of view, it's getting better. One thing I've noticed as a user, though, on Facebook, I don't know if you've noticed this, is that a lot of authors' Facebook posts that they put on their pages are getting organically pushed to me. So I'm wondering if actually we all need to start focusing back on putting content on our Facebook pages, because it's not just author stuff. It's also, random parenting groups pop up on my Facebook feed, or random, like a psychologist who's putting something on there about parenting. One of their posts will come up on my feed, and it's not a paid ad. It's an organic push from Facebook to get you to follow them.
Do you know what?
So that's one of the things that I want to start focusing on in the run up to Christmas, is more organic content on Facebook.
That's a really interesting observation, because now you mention it, I think I have noticed that. And I'm wondering if this is what Facebook's response is. Because they have the ability to basically give us free serves, free, what do we call them, impressions, if they want, outside of, because there's always been a bit of organic reach for your post, because your advert is a post. That's how structurally it works. I wonder if that's their get around, that somebody's putting in £10 a day, $10 a day. They're going to give them a not mentioned or broadcast, but they're going to give them a 30% organic push as well, which would really help the efficiency of the ad. Maybe that's it. I mean,
this would be responding to people's psychology, because we know that people are getting more averse to obvious ads. We know that people are responding better to things that appear to be organic. And my Facebook feed, I don't really see that much stuff from my friends anymore. It is all things that are very relevant to me, or things that I've looked at. Sometimes it's even things that I've had a conversation with, where it's like, you've clearly listened to my phone. So that's something that I'm really going to try and focus on now, is really populating my Facebook page. And I'll just cross post over from Insta. I think that's what a lot of authors do. But I've discovered a lot of romance authors in the last month or so because they're being pushed to my Facebook feed and it's not an ad. So I think that's something to bear in mind.
Interesting. My UK ads have been running now for 2 to 3 weeks at 3p per click.
What, 3p?
3p.
Are they converting?
Well, they are. They're not. They're converting at break even at the moment, but it's a new campaign. It's using all the AI. It's using the Advantage Plus, and I'm just hoping it's taking a few weeks to improve its efficiency. Because if the next 10% of efficiency improvement, and at 3p, that's pretty good, is going to be profit. So I haven't checked actually the last 2 days. Last time I looked, I had a couple of very good days actually recently. So. But yeah, 3p. Let me have a look, just double check that. 4p as of yesterday.
That's bonkers.
And Germany is 16p, which is a bit more normal.
I think Spain and Italy have stabilised for me about 9p a click. And the UK, it was probably 10 or 11 last time I looked.
Yeah. I'm not going to go through and do all my analysis online.
No, don't do that now.
Back.
Although we can see it reflected in your glasses for anyone watching on
YouTube.
You
can read the figures, yeah.
So Facebook ads and AI, has that been noticeable just because people aren't really talking about it?
Yeah, so AI comes up only when you're talking about what you're doing and how you're doing it. There was suddenly a discussion last night about, and again, this big traditional author was there last night, but she does independent work as well. And just discussing the difference between DALL-E for image generation and Midjourney, and people around the table last night, people just didn't seem to like Midjourney, said it was clunky, they couldn't really get it to work, and they loved DALL-E. Last time I looked at DALL-E, which to be fair was months ago, and in the world of AI, that may as well have been a decade ago, I could not get DALL-E to produce realistic images.
Couldn't last time I did anything on there.
But I'm hearing now that you can basically put in 5 covers to ChatGPT and say, I want a 6th cover in this series, this is the title, and it does a really good job. And I think it's using DALL-E in the background.
Yeah, ChatGPT is very, very good. So it designed a cover for my book that I'm working on at the moment, because I quite like having a cover while I'm working on the book because it kind of gives me something to aim for. Yes, and I was honestly not sure what kind of vibe I wanted. So I was playing around with ChatGPT and it produced this cover that was so good. And I actually spent about 10 hours editing it on Photoshop, doing things in Canva, but I still feel like I can't use it. And that irritates me because I've spent a long time actually editing that, tweaking it, doing things to it. And in the end, I just couldn't risk it. I couldn't risk it. So I found a cover designer and said, I don't know how you feel about this, but I generated this for my own purposes. This is what I want. Can you basically replicate this? And they were like, yeah, thanks for the inspiration. We'll use this. We'll try and recreate it for you. So I'm now paying like $500 for something that I essentially did for free in order to remake it. Because if I use the thing that I did for free, even though I spent 10 hours editing it myself, people will cancel me. It just feels a bit.
It's wrong. It's. I mean, those people think they're on some sort of purity charge. Like the Puritans, but they are the opposite. They are now the bad actors. They're the people who are damaging people's careers by having an arbitrary dislike of the latest branch of technology. Now, I know not everything's clean and wholesome about the way AI is trained and how it's taken our books from pirate sites and so on. But what you don't realize is that every stage of modern technology, there's stuff like that happens, a bit Wild West in the first year or two. And as we've pointed out before, this show Google, which we use all the time, and nobody says, well, this author used Google. Do not use them. Google stole everything from the internet to build the world's most successful search engine. It indexed every site that's copyrighted. It learnt. And Google's at the forefront. If you've got Google, you're basically using AI now anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think in a year's time, in terms of design especially, I think things will have settled and people's attitude will be different and we'll have reached a place where cover designers are using AI elements and they're doing Photoshop themselves and people are more understanding and aware of what that actually means, that they'll have got into their heads, oh, actually, a lot of these images, yes, they are AI, but the designer has then spent a lot of time doing that. And what feels weird to me is that because I'm the author, they would come after me for that. Whereas if I paid someone to do it, they wouldn't. But I've designed my own covers for years. I designed my own covers for my Poppy Pennington ones originally using Canva. I used to be a cover designer when I worked in trad publishing. So I have a design background, but I just don't want to take the risk. So for now, I'm just playing it safe. But hopefully in a year's time, things will be different. I think we've already reached the point where people are stopping this witch hunt in terms of accusing people of using AI in their books, in their writing, because I think it went too far the other way and people started to realize that it was really damaging. It was getting ridiculous because they were accusing people who wrote their books like 10, 20 years ago.
Yes.
I mean, even 3 years ago, even 2 years ago, I don't think you could have used one of these things to actually help you write a book. But yeah, it's nice. It's comforting to know that actually in a lot of people are coming at it from the point of view that we are.
Yeah. Well, Pseudowriter here, and they help people write their books using AI. And I think it's very interesting because I'm drafting at the moment. And yesterday I spent 4 hours on the golf course with Tom Donnelly, going through my novel as well as playing golf, to try and get me where I need to be to carry on with the draft of my 4th book, which was very useful. Also, Tom has agreed to speak at SBS Live, so he is brilliant on story. He thinks about story
so good
all the time, and he's very clever about it. He's been in Hollywood where they're very, very hot on character development and everything has to be really tight. So he's going to do a presentation on the first day, the plenary day, where we're all in the same room on story structure. We'll come up with exactly, it'll be something like the 5 beats Hollywood insists you have in your story, so we understand how, someone would check a story to make sure it's going to work, which is a great thing for us at the beginning. So we'll develop that together a bit closer to the time. And then on day 2 is going to do a session on getting your book turned into a film, the pitfalls.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, so that's a good acquisition. It was one of my main things on my plate whilst I came here, is to have a good conversation with Tom.
So you can go, job done. My work is achieved.
I've got more to do. But yeah, so Facebook ads has come up in conversation quite a lot, and it's tentatively more positive, certainly more positive than it was this time last year when we'd had a dreadful period. I mean, I remember November last year as being absolutely awful. Then I suppose we're in competition, so that's good. There's going to be Amazon Ads representation here. Amanda's here, I think, from Amazon Ads, so I'll drop into her session as well. What I would like to do, I'm sort of recruiting for SBS Live as well, and I think next year I would like to have a 101 Amazon Ads session and a 202 Amazon Ads session, and they'll run concurrently. So if you're already using Amazon Ads and you want to go to the next level, you'll go to the 202.
Yep.
I've got a couple of ideas of who's going to do that. I've already worked out how Facebook's going to work. We're doing the same thing with Facebook ads. We'll have a Facebook's 101, where you'll be learning how the structure of the campaigns work, what your choices are, what works best in some scenarios, and a Facebook 202, which is going to be done by Jerry Kilby, very successful sci-fi author. And you know Jerry, don't you?
Yep. No, Jerry, have met.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's a very clever guy, and he has an analytical background, I think an engineering or science background, I can't remember exactly. So Jerry's going to do the 202. And again, I'm going to be a bit closer to the sort of structure of the courses than I have been in the past. I'm going to sit and work with them over the next few months so we know we're delivering what we need to deliver.
Awesome.
And then I'm also just looking at the agenda of other people doing what we do. Yes, I was going to say,
so what else is on?
What else is on?
What else do we want answers on, James Blatch? What are you going to go and find out for us?
So a lot of it's newcomers and meetups and drinking. Let me have a look. Okay, so here we have a session that I think would be quite interesting. Perception versus reality, where and how books are sold. So I think this might be a kind of 101 for us as indie authors, probably someone with a traditional background who understands the sort of science of book purchasing and selling. So if you want a brutally honest, energizing look at what's working right now in book selling, this session's for you. So I will go to that, and that'll be very interesting. There's a big blurb on that. I suppose I can talk about this publicly, can't I? The agenda. I won't necessarily say who's giving.
Can you?
Yeah, I'm just going to. We've got a session on Chirp, which is BookBub's linked audiobook platform.
Yeah, that's
I
interesting,
need to do
we were
more
talking about that, weren't we? Yeah, we were talking about marketing audiobooks and saying that Chirp exists, but we don't really know anything about it. So that's a good one.
There's a session called Winning the Hollywood Lottery from T.D. Donnelly. So that is
Nice.
Tom's session on getting your book done. As I remember Tom telling us, I went to this session in Aruba, and Tom basically said that the chances of your book being made into a Hollywood film are 0, and yet it happens every day. So you kind of have to square that circle. So basically, he'll start off with a very blunt message, and it's very difficult to get your book made into a Hollywood film. And then he'll say, if you do the following sort of 5 things, you've exponentially raised the possibility of your book being done, the sort of thing they look for. And the interesting sort of takeaway for me is that big selling books don't necessarily carry the clout that you think they do in Hollywood. It doesn't mean that much to them, how much they've sold in books, because the figures are very different. You can have 50,000 book sales gives you a great, launch and a fantastic sign. You are definitely going to be in the New York Times and Sunday Times, but that's not enough people to see a film and make it profitable, anything like it. So there's a sort of different relationship between those numbers. I think we have Amanda's session at the aforementioned Amanda Hedger from Amazon Ads is going to be doing a session on turning browsers into buyers. What else we got? A bit more on Chirp. There is a session on getting to trad. I think, is of interest. What does it take to get to the big 5? What are they looking for? Are they big 5 anymore? I thought there's been so many mergers.
I don't even know. There's been so many mergers because there's Penguin Random House are one thing now, aren't they?
Yes.
I still think they should have gone with Random Penguin, but, nobody took my advice on that.
Random Penguin is obviously a much more... That makes them sound like a very modern organisation, which they're definitely not.
I know, yeah.
And then there's quite a few sessions on craft, which I won't go through all of them. So Friday seems to be more of a craft day. Stuff about scene writing and... although there's also quite a lot of marketing now. I'm looking at this. So we've got finding success in audio by the Postcard Project in Spotify. I wonder if that's Scott Curry. Let's have a look. It is. It's Christina and Scott. They're going to be here. That's excellent. See, that's another reason to come to these conferences. You get to meet all the people.
You're just going through that list and going, oh, that's my mate. That's my mate.
Yes. There's sessions
on
AI.
We see through you.
So the AI search revolution, optimizing your books for the future of search. Yes, I had a chat with the person who's presenting that session last night. So this is an interesting one. I need to get my head around it. So we're basically moving from SEO, which is what we know we need to do with our websites and our stuff that's out there on the internet, wherever it is, to, is it GEO? Is it generative engine optimization or AIEO, which sounds like just all the vowels put out there. And understanding that is going to be, I think important to us.
From what I understand, it's eventually at some point you're going to go into ChatGPT or Amazon's version of AI, whatever it is, and say, I want a book that has, that's a reverse harem, but I want there to be an age gap, and I want there to be a scene where there's only one bed, and I want there to be a female heroine who's got red hair and blah, blah, blah. And it will give you recommendations for books that are very, very specific to what you're asking for. And if we want that to happen, then we need to make sure that the metadata for all of our books is optimized in all different places. So kind of going back to making sure that we've got websites that have pages for each individual book and detailed descriptions of what's in them, and making sure when we do our TikTok posts and our Instagram posts and our Facebook posts that we're keeping that information kind of consistent and those keywords in all places. But I'll be really interested to know what you learned from that session, actually, if you go to it, because I think that's something that we need to start thinking about.
Yeah, it's having sort of sentences describing what you've got on there as well, which sounds a bit old-fashioned for the way you do a website. But when you think about, if you type into Google now, and most of us probably do read the AI return at the top first, and that's plain English, says it sort of answers your question, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And AI learns like that. It learns because we talk to AIs, and when we talk to AIs, we talk in English, or whatever language you want. You write in sentences. So I think we have to have our mindset. Think if an AI is coming to my website, having a list of keywords doesn't really work for AI. What does work is a paragraph explaining what this is and how it works and who you are. Cara Clare is a best-selling
our brand
romance author.
Our brand voice, all of that kind of stuff, I think is going to really play into it. But it's something where I think if we start paying attention to it now, we'll be ahead of the game, and it'll be much easier than if we get, a couple of years down the road and then we have to try and go back and do it for all of our stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So I probably need some sentences on there that describe me as, an acclaimed military aviation thriller author. So if somebody's saying, "Oh, I like reading military aviation," you get AI can read what you've said about yourself
Yes.
and will return that. So it very often doesn't want to qualify AI. That's why you have to be careful about what you get from it, but it will just regurgitate stuff it's read. Yeah, so I'm not going to go through all the agenda, but that's you can get the taste of it. So it's a lot of marketing. It does feel more indie. I've got in front of me the requirements for membership. So if people are thinking, "Oh, I would fancy this conference," and like I say, I would recommend it. This is what you need to do to join Nink. And this conference, I think, sells out every year. So you do need to be focused on.
Yeah, I think
you
tickets go on sale in maybe March time, I think.
Yeah.
So I think you have to register, make sure you've done your membership before then and been accepted and you're a paid up member. And then when the tickets are released, you'll be able to just hop on and get them straight away.
So you've got to have published at least 2 novels, each of which is at least 50,000 words long, and neither of which is a box set or collection of shorts. If one or both novels are traditionally published, you've earned at least $3,000 each title from an advance and or royalties in any consecutive 12-month period, or one or both novels are self-published, you've earned at least $3,000 on each title in any consecutive 12-month period following publication. So that's what you need to have qualified, and then you apply and hopefully you get accepted. I don't know if there's a further qualification at that point. And once you're a member of Nink, you are free to attend the conference. And if you're an industry person, if you're listening to this because you are quite rightly tuning into the leading independent self-publishing podcast, this is definitely a place to go, because this is a place where you're going to learn the most about what's going on in the industry, because the higher level discussion, and you're going to make contacts here. This is the contact making conference without question.
Yes.
Which makes it sound a bit clinical and awful, and it's not like that, because my contacts are my best friends in some cases. So
yeah, no, I think it's when people say networking, it sounds very, like you say, a bit clinical and a bit kind of like sneaky, but I think it doesn't work like that, because we genuinely do make friendships. And I think in this industry, it is a bit of a taboo to just walk up to somebody who is well known or a bit ahead of you and just ask them straight outright for a favor, or to be very clearly kind of trying to be a bit smarmy. That's not really how we work. It's about genuinely making connections with other people, and then you offer them some of your expertise, and then it comes to the point where that's how you've got your connections. And if you need help in the future, you can ask for it. But we're quite good at that, I think, as an industry. And if you do go in with kind of that very that in mind, it's not really going to work for you. You've got to go in authentically trying to get to know people and make those connections, rather than I've got my little checklist of people that I'm going to approach to ask about things. I don't just go straight up to Tom and be like, "Hey Tom, so I've never met you before, but can you give me some advice on getting into Hollywood?" Don't do that.
Except you could with him, but yeah.
Well, you probably don't say that. Everyone will be approaching him. By the way, are we allowed to call ourselves the leading independent author podcast? We've just given ourselves that title.
It's like, if we go to court, would you say we were manifesting?
Yeah, we are. Yeah,
manifesting.
We are. And also, what's the criteria on that anyway?
I said a leading. We'll say
did
a
you?
leading.
I thought you said the okay.
No,
we
I'll probably
asked
just
5
say
of our
that.
friends, and they all said we're the best.
Yes. Exactly. Well, it would help if you're listening. Help us, give us some reviews and ratings wherever you listen to your podcast, because that really helps us.
Yes. You don't have to say that we're the best, but
subscribe and review. Good. Lots of questions to me about whether we're doing another writers' retreat. So we do need to.
Yes.
That's when we get.
I found a potential venue actually that I'm going to send to you. It's a bit posher than our usual fare, but I think we could possibly make it work.
We also need to book. We are definitely going to do the writers' retreat following the conference again.
Yes.
So we need to get that booked in, because there's people here who went on that last year and are saying they want to be first in the queue to book that.
And that's definitely good. We're definitely going to do Maddenly, aren't we, again, because that just worked really well.
Not necessarily. It works really well, but not necessarily. I think have an open mind. I've been saying. I mean, there's this place in Wales that I mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only Maddenly was perfect in almost every way, but the bedrooms were basic. They were student accommodation, and I don't care. I sleep in the bed. It makes nothing, but it's spent not much time in the room. But for some people, it does matter that they've spent a bit of money and time, or spent their time coming away.
Yes.
To have a more hotel-y feel room would be better. So there's a possibility of moving it for that, but.
Yeah, because it's student accommodation, basically, isn't it? It's kind of converted student accommodation. So it's what you would expect from that. And I think we charged appropriately for that last time. But I also think people would be willing to pay a little bit more to have that slightly more luxury feel. Because if you're going to spend some time away and you're going to make it a thing, it feels like a treat, doesn't it? For most of us, it is a treat to actually do something like this and prioritize ourselves and prioritize our writing and that kind of stuff. So, oh, that's exciting. Okay. We
Yeah.
need to look at the one in Wales then.
I will get the figures from the one in Wales. I'm going to have to phone them. I hate making phone calls. They don't respond to emails, which we're familiar with.
Isn't there an AI that can do that by now?
Well, there's a Catherine who can do that.
Poor
So
Catherine.
she's my assistant. Yes, good. Okay, look, that's it. I've got to work today. Today is a work day, and the conference
I've got a
starts properly
Zoom
tomorrow.
with AP Beswick in 10 minutes. So
Have you?
I have.
Very interesting. So I thought I'd headline that with Facebook ads because that feels to me like the big takeaway. And I'll keep my ear to the ground on the details of that and have a look at some people's campaigns. There's a great thing you can do in person. You can't really do on a Zoom call, as people will happily turn their laptop around, or you can talk about it one-on-one on that stuff. So I'll report back on that. But I think the headline is that maybe Facebook ads have turned a corner, which is great.
Okay. But keep it next time. You can give us the breakdown of the whole lot. I forget where you're going to be next time we record. If you're going to be home or, Japan, I don't even know anymore.
I'm home. We'll record next Wednesday when I'm recovering from jet lag.
Will we?
As long as my flights work. I mean, I'm flying back via Charlotte. I've never flown back via Charlotte before.
Or you could pay for fancy plane Wi-Fi and record from the plane.
Yeah, I don't think it's good. I've been on fancy plane Wi-Fi. I wouldn't use the word fancy. I'd use the word derelict.
Okay, maybe not then.
Plane Wi-Fi, but yeah. Also, I like plane's my time. I do writing and.
Okay, no, I won't intrude on your plane time. I know how much you love it. All right, well, enjoy the rest of the conference, enjoy the sunshine, and I'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Support the podcast and get exclusive access by joining our Patreon. From just $1 an episode, you'll be invited to our Discord server, where the weekly discussion continues every day. And our 2 top tiers include a monthly live Q&A with James and Cara. Head to indiewritersclub.com/support. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. We'll see you next Friday.
The Indie Writers Club podcast is sponsored by Pro Writing Aid. Built by writers for writers, Pro Writing Aid doesn't just check spelling and grammar. It helps you enhance your story's pacing, plot, characters, settings, and more. Now it can even provide on-demand developmental feedback on your entire manuscript with its manuscript analysis and virtual beta reader tools. Give your writing a competitive advantage by heading to prowritingaid.com. You can also sign up for free or use the code IWC15 for a 15% discount off annual subscriptions.